Hello and welcome to the Art Hitman. I'm Perry McCants, and today I'm going to show you how to draw Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. Now let's begin by dividing the page in half. And please help me get 50 likes and 30 comments for these how to draw videos. Now the first thing we want to do is always come down just a little bit. Always give yourself just enough before you get to the top, before you chop anything off above the line of the page here. Let's start with our typical oval shape. A fairly sized oval shape, not too big and not too small, so that we can fit the figure properly on the page. Now, once we have our oval shape established, let's go ahead and put another oval shape here for the base of the neckline, and just put 2 lines here. Now, we're going to go ahead on and measure these two, the oval, and we're going to use our index and thumb. Move down just below the chin so we know where we want the chest to be. And now that I've marked that, I usually just like to put a line here. And then go ahead and come on down one more time for the waist. And you'll have an idea where the waist should end on the page, which is right here. Now, immediately after that, we can go ahead and put an oval shape in, a large one that is, for these two heads here. And go ahead and put this oval shape for the torso in. That way it completes the whole top of the body, or top portion of the body. Then down here where this line is drawn for the waist, we can just put an oval shape here for the waist for now. Now let's go ahead and back up, and we can put a line in for the shoulder, where her shoulder is going to be. And then we can put circle shapes for her actual shoulders on the right and left. And for this one, we're going to deal with folded arms. That's going to be the exercise today. So we're going to deal with her arms being folded. So let's go ahead and come on down. We can put a line here, or straight down like this and like this. And we'll stop here for now, and let's go ahead and deal with her face. Now for her face, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put a line in where her eyes are going to be. Lightly put that line in. Now we will put temple line in. The reason why I always put the temple line in immediately after I put the eye lines in is so that we don't forget. And it's sometimes hard to gauge where the front meets the side of the head. And let's come down the middle here. Now we want her, always want to start with eyebrows, so let's put our eyebrows in. Come over and then put her eyebrows in on her left side. And where the temple line is, if you noticed, it helps me to know where to break the edge of her eyebrow, as you see here. Now we're gonna go ahead and put our eyes in. For her eyes, we're just gonna come off the edge of the temple line and come over just underneath where the eyebrow line is, and then come in. And because she's a female, we can make the edge of the eyes a little thicker. If you notice on the end, I add a little bit more lead here. And do the same thing for the left side. Have the eyes come in, and when you come out to the edge of the of her eye, add a little bit more for her eyelid here. Usually females have much more eyelashes, so that's how we can distinguish the difference between male and female. Okay. Now let's go ahead and add her iris in. We can do just like this. And add a little bit of thickness to the eyebrow. Just a little bit, not too much. We don't want her eyebrows to be bushy, but just enough. And you put like a little dot in the center. Okay, now with her nose, we can put the nose line in. Just come down not too far. We don't want her nose to look too long. And just go ahead and just put the outside of the nostril in. And it's going to come just where the end of her eye is, right here. Lightly put that line in, and then put the end of her nose, just like this. And then come up on this, the other side and do repeat the same thing. So it's going to measure it by coming to the edge of the eye here and doing that. And then, you know, you put the edge of her nose in just a little bit, indicate that for the bridge of her nose. Now, for her mouth, we're going to come straight across as if she's smiling. So put a line right here, and you want to do a straight line like this. And to use this, you can just go in and put an indication in the middle where her cleft is, and then come down like this. Come up on the other side, and you know, and then that will complete her smile. And then put a little bit of dimples on the edge here, just like this. Now we can go to the exterior a little bit. So we can start by basically putting our hairline in. When I usually do a hairline, I come straight across with a line like this. And then from this line, you can kind of gauge where you want the hair to go. So I'm gonna go to the right. So from here, we're gonna do a forelock. And a forelock is just a curl that comes over the forehead. So it's gonna come over and come right next to where her eyebrow is, come down and go around just like this. So it's a pretty long one. And then you can come on the outside of that and bring this around and repeat the same shape. And when you do locks of hair, you can go ahead and you always make strands. So you do one line and then another. So it's not a single line, because single line, it will take a lot more strokes in order to fill the hair in. So if you notice here, this is one lock, and it makes it a little simpler with drawing. You don't have to do hundreds of thousands of lines. Okay. So now with the right side, we're going to come over a little bit in the center, and there's one lock that comes back and over. And this right here is going to kind of create the shape of the, what I call the wig when you're drawing. You're going to come around like this. And that shape is going to come around like this, and it's one piece. And from behind this lock is going to be another piece that comes down and swoop around to the shoulder. Now when we come to this side, we have another piece that swings around to the outside. That stops about here. And these are all pieces, so you can follow me piece by piece. Come in here, and this is a larger lock than on the right side, so, or thicker I should say. And it's going to come around like this. Now we're going to put in, you know, the temple line of the hair. And this piece is going to come from the side of her head. So let's go ahead and draw the side of her face in now. And so it's going to come to the jaw, and it's going to come down like this. And notice the oval I have here, that's going to help us decide where the chin is going to be. So her chin's going to go right there. Then we're going to come to the outside a little bit. And then here's another strand that's going to come right to the bottom of the jaw. And it's going to come out here. And then the last one is going to come down and go behind the shoulder. Now, although the shoulder isn't drawn in yet, but we know where to stop. It's going to be about where this line is. Okay, so now that we have this in and this, and then we're going to come back over here. There's one more piece that we can sneak in there. And then it's going to be different levels to it, because we want the hair not to look like one large piece or wig, but we want to differentiate the strands of hair. Now that we have her face and her hair roughed out here, we're going to do the other side of her jaw, complete that. Now we can get ready for her neck. So for her neck, we're going to come in a little bit and come down to where the neckline is, which is right here we drawn earlier. Okay, then we can put the neck muscle cords in, or what they are called sternomastoids, but they are the muscles for the neck to help us turn our head. And then we have another line coming like this. Okay, and then we have the shoulder blade. The shoulder blade is going to come right in like this, and then going to come up over to where the shoulders are. So we're just indicating that in for right now. Come over and do the same thing for the right. And the lines that I'm using is a straight line, and then it goes up and comes down to the center. Now her shoulders are not going to be as high and muscular like most of the characters you'll see. So hers is going to be a bit more feminine. So right at the oval tip here, as you see here, I'll follow my finger. You're going to bring this over straight like this to her shoulder, and do the same thing for the right side. And let's not forget, because as the drawing going on, we'll be putting so many different details in we can forget. So let's put a line in here right now. She is wearing tights. So this is where the tights stop. So I'm putting this right now so we don't forget later. Now we can go ahead and we could begin putting in her arms. So for her arms in this exercise, like I mentioned earlier, she's going to have her arms folded. So I'm gonna switch my pencil out because it's not as detailed. Let's go ahead and deal with the shoulder muscles. Now we're gonna come to the outside, and come in just like this. Like you see me doing here, you're gonna do this curve right here and connect to where the shoulder is. The inside is gonna come like this. And we're gonna stop right there. We're gonna do the same thing for the left side. So we don't forget when we get to the left side. Come around and bring that in like that. Now it's not foreshortened where, you know, it's overlapping, but it is enough where it kind of overlaps one another, but it's not to the point where you have to draw one shape behind the other. So if you notice, I put an oval shape here underneath this circle. So we're gonna come around and put the bicep and the tricep in and do just like this. And the bicep is gonna come in like this. Now we can understand where we want to put the shoulders at, or I'm sorry, the elbows, not the shoulders. We finished the shoulders already. The elbows are gonna come right about here. So we're gonna come around and we're gonna deal with our forearms. So the forearms is gonna come here. So now we'll just backtrack a little bit and cut you up. We have an oval here, here, circle. The third oval is gonna be for the forearm. So where the elbow is, you wanna have the muscle that comes around the actual elbow and it's gonna go into the forearm. So we wanna have the forearm go across the body like this. And off the elbow, we're gonna have the bottom portion of the forearm come in and up. And it's gonna stop right about here. We're gonna draw a circle for her wrist. Okay. Now we're gonna repeat the same process for her left arm, which is essentially the same process, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and put an oval again. If you notice, this line measures where the oval should end. So it kind of gives us how to gauge how high or low something should be on the figure. So we're gonna come on around, just like we did with the right arm, and repeat the same thing. And how we can measure it is we can draw a line over from the forearm like this. And that kind of gives us a understanding of how far down the left arm should be. We're gonna bring the bicep in just like this. And then with the way we did it before, we're not gonna do anything different. Put an oval here, the elbow's gonna be here, so that way we know where to put the muscles. So we can go ahead and put this line in for this muscle, and then we're gonna have this forearm come around like this and go under. And then from underneath here, we're gonna have this line come in and around like so. Now, we're gonna come back up to, let's move this out the way here. The wrist is gonna come up here and go down and tuck behind this bicep on the left. And she's wearing gloves, so let's go ahead and sketch that in really light and come around like this. If you notice, I always repeat the same shapes. So with the shapes you're gonna do, you're gonna have one curve go here around the wrist, come over, a little M shape here, and do the other side, just like that. And then continue this line under here like this. And I'm gonna come down and do the same thing here. So essentially we're gonna be drawing this forearm coming under this arm, and then the wrist is gonna be about. And to be safe, I usually do this if I'm not sure. This is what you can do. I can take the wrist and the elbow, turn it, bring it over here. And if you notice, I was accurate. The wrist is gonna stop about here. And we're gonna tuck this wrist where? If you can guess it, we're gonna tuck this wrist right under this arm here. But the only difference is you're gonna see some of her fists coming around like that. Okay. So let's get rid of this line here for this bicep. Okay. Now, the other important component of the way she's posed is gonna be the muscles that go into the forearm. So right here off the edge of the elbow is gonna be a muscle that comes in like this. That's the muscle number one for this drawing. Number two, it's gonna come up around like this. And then the final muscle is gonna come out of here and go up near the wrist. And the last one is off the elbow, and it stops right about here. Same thing on this side. Come up to the outside, go up. You have a muscle that comes around like this. Then you have one that comes out of that, and it's gonna go under this arm. And the last one is gonna be off the elbow. And then you can add the little muscle details that she have here. Bring that around and do the same thing for her right arm. Now, the other important component is going to be the chest area. So for the chest area, we're going to simply put half circle shapes here. And you can draw through the rest of the figure if you need to get the shape of the circle. So if you notice, I'm forming this out, and I'm going to do the same thing for the opposite side. It's going to be circles. Okay. Now, once you have this circle sketched in pretty good, she's wearing tights, so we're going to go ahead and add the detail of the tights up here. So we're going to have a line that comes in like this. And I usually like to indicate that the figures are wearing something. So I usually bring it up, and you know, this line is going to come in here like this. And it's going to come around the shape that we put in for the circle. Do the same thing for the left side. Come in and put a little indication right here. Come to the shoulder, and then go just like this. And in the center, we're going to put kind of like a V shape, but it's going to come and stop here. And this is defining the shape right here. And then below, we're going to have a line coming here. We're going to put the same line down here. Okay. Now we can divide this in half because there is a zip line here on her outfit. And we're going to bring this line over because it is a bit longer than what I have. Okay, now for the bottom portion, let's finish up her hair here. I almost forgot. When you come up to her hair really quick, this piece that comes around is going to curl up and off the shoulder like this. It's like as if her hair is blowing in the wind. And you want to add a nice little touch there. All right, so now we're getting down to the lower part of her portion of her body. So at this point, what's going to happen is we're going to define her waist. So let's come right about where we have the oval shape here. If you can look at it, you can still see the oval shape. And you can come in like this and then taper over, and this is going to be her waist. Because she's feminine, her waist is very thin. Okay, so you're gonna come in just like this, and then her belt line's here. So we can go ahead and put the rest of her outfit line in like this so we don't forget that little detail, and do the same thing here. Now we're gonna put the navel crease in right about here, and then she has abs, so we're gonna put the ab muscles here, and then we're gonna put one more that comes in around like this because it's going towards the bottom portion of her pelvis or waist, and put a line right here. Okay, so now at this point, we're going to taper this in from her waist into the center. And we're going to bring her waist in. So here we're going to have, she usually wears jeans, so we're going to bring this in half like this. And I usually like to put a belt buckle right here. And then we put like the pants buckle where the belt goes, and we're gonna put one right here as well. And then we're gonna finish the belt line in. And all you're doing is just putting lines through that buckle and doing the same thing over here, and follow what I'm doing step by step, and you'll bring the line out to the edge, and it's gonna overlap where her upper thighs are. And with her jeans, we're gonna put a zipper line here. We're gonna have this line come straight down where she's standing straight. And then this is gonna come over like this. And then this leg is gonna come out to the side slightly. Just like this. It's almost like she's posing, or she is posing rather. And bring the pant or pocket up like this, and do the same thing for this side. And then of course you got a little crease line here. I usually don't like to go crazy with creases, just to keep it simplistic. If you wanna add later, you can always do that. And this is gonna complete this portion. Now, if you've drawn along with me up to this point, you've just drawn She-Hulk. And what I'm going to do, as I always do in every video, is clean all of these other lines and shapes and things that we have done and to develop the figure. And I'm going to clean it up, make it look nice, and at the end, you can take a look at it and pause it. And that's going to be it.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe by clicking this round button at the bottom. Also, click one of the two videos at the top. Please like this video, tell a friend, and share it on Facebook. Thank you.
The Art Hitman.